In the last episode, I made a fully automatic stained glass factory that also produces cyan terracotta, and then I got ill, never finished it off. And thanks to me being ill, I've had time to actually get it finished off and fully functional, so that we're now creating all of the different colours of stained glass and the cyan terracotta. I've also had time to completely build and decorate the two skyscrapers next door to this one, as you'll see in a form of a time-lapse in a moment. But before we get to that, in today's video, what we're going to be doing is creating yet another skyscraper, but this one's going to be going underground. What? And as well as overground. I realise a skyscraper does need to stick out of the floor in order for it to scrape the sky, but this little area here is going to go both above and below the ground because we're going to be making a glow squid farm. But anyway, back to that time lapse, which I'm going to now explain to you all of the things I did while I wasn't feeling very well. So before I got the sniffles after building most of the stained glass and cyan terracotta high-rise, I realised I didn't have enough floors to get everything set up the way I wanted it. So I glued the top sections of the skyscraper together and used a mechanical piston to raise everything up by an entire level, which made a mess. And so after dealing with that mess, followed by building in a new floor, I spent some time fixing everything up ready to start duplicating the stained glass crafting sections onto multiple floors below. But then I realised I'd actually need another floor for the skyscraper in order to squeeze in everything I needed, so I raised it up once more and then fixed things up all over again. With the floors raised and the systems fixed, I grabbed a quick schematic of the auto crafting system for the farm and then prepared the schematic cannon several floors below. The cannon quickly replicated the schematic onto 3 more floors, which meant I could complete the stained glass crafting sections of the build by swapping out a few of the filters and connecting up the power. And with that stained glass system fully completed, it was time to build the cyan terracotta production floor, which consisted of a press to compact clay balls into clay blocks and a blaster to cook the clay blocks into terracotta. This system didn't need to be particularly fast or efficient due to how relatively slow the clay balls were coming in. What it did need, however, was yet another auto crafter to dye the terracotta into cyan terracotta, and with that done, the stained glass skyscraper was complete. However, I still wasn't overly happy with the concrete skyscraper, mainly because the storage system was on the ground floor instead of the first floor like in the other 2 buildings. So I got to work combining the floors for the gravel and sand production in order to free up some space in order to move everything up a level. And with a brand new spare floor, I was able to yet again use the schematic cannon to replicate one of the concrete processing floors onto that level, which then meant I could smash the lowest concrete processing floor to bits in order to create the space I needed to move the storage system up to the first floor, which I then did in the most convoluted way possible, using the schematic cannon to replicate the threshold switches and the redstone links purely so I didn't lose the settings and filters. I then put the storage boxes back in the correct places in front of the threshold switches, connected the system back up to the other 2 buildings, and that was all of the modifications to the farms complete. For now. With the technical side of things now out of the way, it was time to get technical, I guess. With the fancy new workshop area underneath the middle building, I had everything I needed to start decorating the skyscrapers. But before I could do that, they needed elevators. Basically, a way to get up and down between the floors without relying on my jetpack. So using a mixture of concrete, cyan terracotta and some fancy looking wool from the chip loom and some create bits and bobs, I added the first elevator to the die skyscraper, creating a stop-off point on each floor using redstone contacts. Instead of building all 3 elevators one after the other, it was time to start working out the design for the die farm's outer decoration. I wanted to keep things relatively simple due to the scale of the building, so using a little light grey concrete, some stained glass and a bunch of cyan terracotta of course, I came up with an easily repeatable modern looking bottom section for the building that I was happy with. Then things got a little messy as I created schematics of the front, back and sides of the first floor exterior that I'd just created so that I could start replicating that up each side of the building using the schematic cannon without worrying about affecting the interior. All in all, it took around about 2 hours from finishing the elevator to completing the exterior of the first building, and then it took a whole bunch more time trying to figure out a reasonable interior consisting of grey carpet, white concrete panels on the ceiling and a few glowstone ceiling lights which I intended to add onto every level of the building. However, it was getting a little tedious, and with my sniffly sneezes now strong enough to blast me in my wheelie office chair to the other side of the room every few minutes, I decided to move on to something a little bit less tedious, or at least something a little bit more enjoyable, which was coming up with a design for the concrete skyscraper. I wanted to keep things relatively uniform for this row of high-rise buildings, so I stuck with cyan terracotta, swapped the light grey concrete for white concrete and switched the stained glass windows for a lighter shade too. And then it occurred to me, I'd completely forgotten to add in the elevator. So before I started schematic cannoning the walls of this building together, I threw in another elevator very similar to the one in the first building, and again linking it up to every single floor. And with that complete, it was time to finish off the outsides of the building, again deciding that the interior was just far too tedious to bother with for my sneeze-induced stupor. And that's it! That's as far as I got with my little time lapse, which was basically 3 days worth of work, albeit not very long working every day because I wasn't very well, squished into a 5-minute time lapse, which really didn't show you all of much use. So let's just have a very quick tour. As you can see inside of this building here, which is our dye factory, there is absolutely nothing here on the ground floor. We have a little access hole here that leads to absolutely nothing. And if we come around here, we can call the elevator down, even though it's already here. Take ourselves up to the first floor, which has this nice little bit here, but absolutely no ceiling at all. And then we can go up to the second floor, which is the crafting area. And absolutely nothing at all is going on here either, because I haven't decorated any of this at all. And then leaving this building by going back down in the elevator, we can then go across to the concrete building, where something very similar is going on in terms of how much I've actually decorated. As you can see, this ground floor here has some carpet. That's nice, isn't it? And the elevator can be called down, and again it can go to all of the different floors. The first floor actually having some walls and a little area here for absolutely nothing at all. And the second floor, very similarly to the other building, having absolutely nothing at all in it. And yes, my voice still hurts, it's still difficult to talk, it's still difficult to record, it's Friday, my videos come out Sunday, I'm busy this weekend, so chances are I can't get out my door. Chances are, this video's probably already late, or it's very, very short. I'm not sure which is going to happen yet. But anyway, it's time to make a glow squid farm, and that means doing pretty much what we did a few episodes ago and digging down a certain amount so that we can get underneath level 30 in the world. I'm currently on level 78, so it's not too far down to go. Underneath this building here, creating some sort of glow squid killing system to harvest their glow ink sacs just so that we can make my favorite block. Light blocks of all of the different neon colors in both glass and concrete variants. And you just make them with some concrete and some glow squid, or some stained glass and some glow squid, or glow ink sacs, I guess. So it's very convenient that we've just happened to have built a concrete factory and a stained glass factory, because both of those are going to be very useful for us to create our glowing lights. Right, anyway, big old drill time to dig down. And yeah, it's just going to be time-lapse central, this video, because my voice hurts, okay? Jeez, leave me alone. Practically worn the wheels out on this chair as I've sneezed across the room every 5 minutes. Well, that was unfortunate. And this is oh jeez, I'm all my bed. Oh jeez. Well, as you could see from that little bit of a time lapse there, I was having quite a little trouble with water. Of course, we're going to need water for glow squid to spawn, but not as high up as it was, which means now I've got to get back down there, get to my grave, and try and figure out a way of getting rid of all of that water so then we can put it back in where I want it. The other issue with water is obviously if this is going to be a glow squid farm, we don't want any water in the chunks around where this farm's going to be, where glow squid might be able to spawn. But because this is a part of an underwater ravine, there are underwater areas full of water, which I shall demonstrate in just a moment. Now I've got my stuff back. If we just fly up here, you can see there's a big old underwater ravine over here. And I'm pretty sure if I go into a bit of cheaty free cam and look through the walls, we can, oh jeez. Oh jeez. See, the fact that there's a glow squid down there already. Oh jeez. Oh, there's a spawner though. Skeleton spawner. That could be handy. But what's not handy is this ridiculous amount of water. So my plan is to come along here with this magic wand, which apparently is set up completely wrong. Let's put that on row and column. Pop down into the water level here and just place an absolute ton of netherrack in the hopes that I can get rid of all of the water sources and that below it, not too far down from here, is just flowing water. And it looks like we got rid of a bunch of it there, so let's go to the next level and do this bit here. Yes, that's got rid of a bunch more. Let's do a bit more. And there we go. Now the water level is going down significantly. Hopefully there'll be no more water sources, at least in this bit up here. There might be some a little bit further down. And there are glow squid in it, which is a very good sign. There's a few water sources right down at the bottom. That's fine. We can deal with that. But basically, we need to be below, I believe, it's level 30 that glow squid will spawn below, and that is this level here. So let's just pop a quick marker on the wall there. Let's just shove a torch on that, and that's the level that's going to be the maximum height for our water that our glow squid are going to be spawning at, I think. Alternatively, we could make a squid farm and just use the haunting system to create glow ink, but this is going to be significantly easier. So now there's a couple of things we need to do. Of course, we need to build the tank for the glow squids to spawn in and a reasonable killing system to be able to kill them. And like I said, we're going to need to get rid of... Oh, I can't fly up any higher than this. Fly over to this bit here. There we go. I need to get rid of all the water around the area. All of this stuff. And that could take a very long time. Unless I use my brain. Which I will do a little bit later on, but right now I need to get out of this hole and, come up with some solutions for other things. Back on my Season 1 world, this is what we did for the glow squid farm. It was relatively simple. We had a pool of water 4 blocks deep, and then this just big old saw system which was going backwards and forwards on a contraption which would kill the glow squid and relieve them of their ink sacs. Then what we had was a whole bunch of fans blowing those ink sacs across over here. They would then get sucked in by that one and then go down there and get sorted. And while that worked pretty well, it did and it didn't. It did generate an absolutely ridiculous amount of ink sacs. The problem is, though, that the saws don't do a very good job of killing the glow squid, and we needed quite a lot of power in order to get all of the fans blowing all of the ink sacs to the other side, because I thought when the saws killed the glow squid, it would collect the glow squid items, which it didn't. The other thing is, we're missing out on the looting effect. You can see here that the glow ink drop rate is affected by looting, so we were only ever getting a third as many as we could have got if we'd have got looting in here somehow. So I need to figure out a system that's going to spawn enough glow squid, kill them with looting, i.e. use some deployers with swords ideally, and still be able to, deal with... Oh, geez, I don't know how we're going to do it. Which is why I've come over to this void world, so that I can do some testing and learn all about glow squid. In this void world, we have 2 different tanks. The first tank over here is full of water, 4 blocks deep, and it's got lights all the way around it. We've got tinted glass above us, and this one is very similar to that one, except for it's only 1 layer deep and then a whole bunch of open fence gates underneath. Because glow squid will only spawn in complete darkness below level 30, which is exactly where we are. So currently, because of all these redstone lamps, there are absolutely no glow squid spawning, even though we are technically in complete darkness because of all the tinted glass above us. So, for instance, if I was to flick this lever off, you'll see over there we immediately get a whole bunch of glow squid spawning in that water, which is exactly what we'd expect. So let's turn that off and then get rid of all of those glow squid, and now we need to focus on this one. Turn that one on and you'll get all of the glow squid spawning in, and they will eventually fall down underneath the fence gates and just suffocate at the bottom. But it does take them quite some time to decide that they're going to do that. As you can see, there are some benefits to the method that I have behind me. If we can get the glow squid to spawn in a single layer of water and fall into a void area, we can basically use machines to scoop those glow squid exactly where we want them to go and then just have a single deployer in the corner that'll deal with them, as I'm about to demonstrate. Here I have a very simple glow squid killing system set up. We've basically got a sweeper that goes from side to side, pushing the glow squid onto either one of these conveyors, which then come round the corners and then go underneath this deployer, which has a sword in it. The sword has Unbreaking 3, Mending, Sharpness 5 and Looting 3 on it, and when it kills the mobs it will pick up the items and drop them into this barrel. So all we gotta do is find ourselves in a position that's going to allow plenty of glow squid to spawn. Somewhere about this sort of distance should work. They're all going to spawn in, get pushed onto the conveyors, end up in the little killing system, and off they go, getting turned into tasty glow squid sacks, and we're not losing anything because we're getting the full looting effect. However, the rates of this will be slowed by the fact that some of the glow squid are just too stupid to swim down into the open air and get killed. It's almost like they want to live. So something like this is very easy to build and will give us incredible rates over a short period of time, providing that we can make sure that the entire area around this glow squid's farm cannot spawn any glow squids. We need to make sure that they will only spawn in here, but as you can see from just that very short test, we already have a whole bunch of glow ink sacs and a bunch of nuggets of experience as well. And the sword on here will never break because it is collecting experience and mending itself. So this is what we're going to go with. We just need to build this tiny weeny simple little farm down the big hole that I've made and then just tidy up the area around it. How hard could it be? What could possibly go wrong? Well, we've got a basic system now in place. Right down the bottom here in this concrete-filled hole, we have a sweeper, we have some conveyors that have no power, we have a deploy which has my sword at the moment. It needs a proper one because that's got smite on it and not sharpness, so it's going to be slow. And we even have a little outfeed bit that's going into a little storage network which will deposit all of our glow squid and XP in there. But we got a little bit of a problem here, and that is in order for me not to be just swamped by mobs down here, we need lights on. But the glow squid won't spawn with lights nearby, so we now need to get some tinted glass, about 4 stacks of it to be exact, to put over this so that when we put the water in, the squid can actually spawn in there. And yes, we still need to add the water in there as well because I didn't really want things going wrong while I was building all of this stuff. So thanks to our stained glass farm, we've now got absolutely tons of glass, so that's not going to be a problem. Probably didn't need quite that much. And I'm hoping that in my little backpack I've got a whole bunch of amethyst, but if not, I know where I can get some. Let's just check. I have 105. That might be enough. We're going to need 4 stacks. How many do I get out of this? Half a stack. I'm going to need a lot more amethyst. Okay, fine. If I need more amethyst, let's head over to our waystone. Let's just take care of this zombie quickly. Thank you very much for setting me on fire. And let's hop over to, where was it? Mineshaft storage. And if I walk through here and go on this little end pressure platey thing here, I should appear. Oh, well, this is the end portal. Oh, I thought that would take us to an amethyst cluster. I don't need to be at the end. That's not ever so useful for me at all. Huh. Okay, let's go back to my base. I've got to figure out how to get to the amethyst stuff. I know I've definitely seen some because we got some before. I just can't remember where it was. I'm not 100% sure if it was in relation to this mine or our original mine. So I guess I've got a bit of running about to do before I figure all of that out. Well, I've not had much luck running around all of my bases looking for them, but as luck should have it, using a little bit of cheesy free cam, I have discovered there's one very close to the mine that we were working on in an episode not too long ago. So let's just go down to the bottom of our mine, and if I dig through this wall when we get to the bottom, near where there is already quite a big hole in the wall, there should be an amethyst geode not too far behind it. Over in this direction. Shouldn't use free cam to find stuff. I know, but you know, I could spend all day looking for a geode, and I'm poorly made. I just want to get this video done and make me glow squid farm. Okay. No. And here we go. We have found the geode. We just need to get in without smashing all of the good bits to bits, so that we can get all of the good bits to bits. Oh look, many of them already fully grown. And now that I've got nearly half a stack of those, I'm going to crush them. Don't do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Crush them to pieces. Hopping over into our underground mine area, we just happen to have a set of crushing wheels here, and hopefully, I believe if I just throw those in there, they should all get crushed. Go through. Oh, they're going to end up on there. I don't want them. No, I don't want them to burn. Give me those. Thank you. Is that it? Is that all I got? 3 and a bit stacks. Okay, let's see what that ends up in terms of tinted glass then. 2 and a... Wow. I'm going to need a lot more amethyst, which gives me an idea. I'm going to use the carry-on mod to get plenty of amethyst. All I'm going to do is hop through here, grab myself a piece of budding amethyst, wherever that may be. There's one here, look. Let's grab that. Let's steal it. For now, I'm just going to chuck it down over here, and I'm going to get some more. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm going to get some normal amethyst as well, because I believe we can crush these. possibly. And here we go. We now have 5 budding amethysts, which I'm going to use to make a very, very temporary little farm with. However, before we do that, I want to see what happens when I chuck these amethyst blocks through the crushing wheels. Do we get anything for that? We do. We got 26. So not loads, but some. And that gives me another cheeky idea. If I give my pickaxe back to my building wand and put it on destroy and vein mine and head back to the geode, of course, I should hopefully be able to destroy all of this without affecting the budding amethyst. Just like that. There we go. I got all the amethyst. And now all the budding amethyst is free to grow, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff to shove through the crushing wheels. But before I do that, I just want to add these amethyst shards to that filter there, and that means that they can come through into our system. So now I'm going to throw in all of these blocks of amethyst. They're all going to get crushed down, and we're going to get a whole bunch of amethyst in there, which means I don't need to make myself a little temporary budding amethyst farm, and that's good, because that's something I'm going to be doing very soon when we get into Applied Energistics 2. And I wasn't ready to do it yet, so yeah, good news for me, bad news for you if you wanted to see that, but also good news for me, I got loads of amethyst shards now. So the first thing I want to do with this tinted glass is to make a lip all the way around the edge of the top of these fence gates. Now we can pour some water into this system, and hopefully it's going to flow over the top of the fence gates. It is. This is good news. Just a few buckets later, we now have a full layer. And now I can get my wand back out and create another layer of tinted glass above that water, which does render the water slightly weirdly invisible as I'm placing that, but don't worry about it. It's all good. There we go. And now there is absolutely no light in that area below us, apart from a bit of light coming from below because the torch is below it. So let's go and sort that out. And with that last row there, that should mean that the entire watery system that we've created should be in pitch black. Although I've got my gamma turned up highest, so I can't actually tell. So let's get back up there and have a look. Gamma down. Yes, it's very, very dark. There does appear to be a little bit of light coming through here, which could be a problem, but I'm pretty sure... it must be shining through the deployer, in which case what we'll have to do in here is actually make sure that there's no light in here as well. In that case, let's make the entire of this thing full of glass so things don't spawn in it. Get rid of that lantern. Wow, now that's dark in there. And it's very dark in there, so we should hopefully start getting some glow squid spawning in there. But we probably won't, because there's all that water near the edges of this thing that they're going to be spawning on. And that means we've still got a lot of work to do. But before I run off and start going and clearing out all of the watery areas around this farm, we're not finished. Of course, we need power down here because none of the conveyors or the deployer are running. So if we were to get any glow squid in here, we're still not going to get any glow ink sacs. So let's get that sorted out next, which means we need electricity. And we just happen to have a pylon just here. Now, because this building is going to have power and electric run into it anyway for the other things going in it, I'm just going to run some power, well, just temporarily down there for now until I know exactly how we're going to deal with it. You see, I'm also going to want elevators and whatnot going up and down there as well, so this is all probably going to change as we continue building later on. So just a couple of minutes later, I now have power to all of the conveyors. They're all going in the correct directions. There's power to the deployer as well, which means all we need now is some glow squid. All I've done is brought our power across to the middle. It's feeding down the back of there, running down each side to each of the things, and it's basically just shafts and gearboxes. But yes, glow squid, where are you? I need you. Why are you all in the caves nearby and not in this one? And why did I chuck my pickaxe on the floor? I've got some watery bits to clear out. Well, there's literally a glow squid in the corner over here. Oh my goodness, I've got some work to do. We have glow squid, and I've not even done any work on removing the water from around the edges yet. Speaking of which, I need to go and get some blocks. And if you're thinking, oh, he's going to need a lot of sponges to get rid of all that water, I don't need any. In fact, I don't need to remove any of the water from around the area at all. I just need to light it up. And that's because glow squid need absolute darkness, remember? So that's going to make my life significantly easier, specifically because I have a farm, not this one, in the other building. I have a farm that produces a whole bunch of light blocks that I don't need for anything else. And if I'm right, we should have a whole bunch of them. Yep, 4,096. That should be plenty, but we need to know where I'm going to be putting these light blocks. I don't want to just spam them around everywhere, that'll take all day. And this is where the fact that this mod pack is a fabric mod pack is going to be an advantage. I see you pillagers. You see, I have the mini HUD mod, which allows me to create spawning spheres. Can spawn spheres, can despawn spheres, and despawn spheres. So first of all, I'm going to use a can spawn sphere in order to determine where my AFK spot for this farm's going to be, because then I can determine what the despawn sphere will be around this farm, and then I'll know exactly where I need to put my light blocks. So coming down to roughly the center of this, a couple of blocks above where the glow squid are going to be spawning, I'm going to add a can spawn sphere, add a shape, enable it, and configure it to Y30, because that's one block below where I am. And now you can see we have the top of a spawn sphere. And using a bit of that cheaty free cam, you can see this spawn sphere goes around the entire thing. So I could AFK below this if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So first of all, what I'm going to do is grab myself a little bit of this white concrete, and I'm just going to bring a little platform across the center of this like this, trying to keep it in the middle of this chunk. And yes, this farm is completely chunk aligned, so we've got a whole chunk to play with. And now I have an area where I can AFK, and I know the glow squid can spawn. However, what I need to do now is move this spawn sphere. So let's set it to where I am. Now we know that when I'm stood here, things can spawn within the red sphere, which hopefully is going to include... Oh, it does. It's not quite high enough. I need to go down a little bit with my spawn sphere in order to encompass all of the water. So let's just bring this down a couple of blocks. Let's move the spawn sphere to here, and hopefully now that is going to cover the whole water area. It is. But it's not just this red sphere that we need to worry about, because that's just the area that things can spawn when I'm stood there. Of course, we need to worry about the things that have already spawned once I've stood here. And that means we need another spawn sphere, which is the despawn sphere. We're going to add that, enable that, configure that, set it here, and hopefully that means now if I go into free cam, we've got 2 huge areas. So yeah, this new red sphere is the area that I need to make sure that all of the water within this area is not spawnable, which seems like a massive area, but don't forget we only need to worry about things below level 30. So in order to make things slightly less complicated, I'm going to turn off the inner spawn sphere because we don't need to worry about that. Now I'm going to create a box based on my coordinates at level 30 that should cover the area around me. Kind of. I didn't quite get the dimensions right, but you can see what I'm going for. Basically, anything below this box is going to be spawnable by glow squids. But it needs to be bigger. That should just about do it. So now anything under here I need to worry about. And it looks like there's a whole bunch of water in it. So I guess I've still got my work cut out for me. First of all, it would be wise to find areas like this that are actually above where we need to worry about, but have water running down to below it. And the easiest way to deal with that is literally just to block off the water sources so that they don't flow down below the line anymore. Then we can go down to areas like where those zombies are that are under the area and just stick in some light blocks. You can see there is a glow squid in here, so it must have been pretty dark. And now I'm Wow. Rude! I was going to say I'm basically just going to fly around the caves with my jetpack, feeling all safe and placing round light blocks, but I guess I gotta go find my stuff again. Stupid things that kill me. That's better. The other tool in my arsenal, of course, for this is going to be the map. As you can see from the map, I can see pretty much where all of the water is in the area I need to worry about. And thanks to its cave mode toggle, I can actually toggle whether or not I want to show just the layers that I'm in, or the full cave map, or well, basically the surface, which isn't much use to me. And of course, I can see the map on my mini map as well. So this is going to be very handy. Speaking of handy, that water is now all gone, so it's time to run away, not get upset by any skeletons, and go and see if I can find some more water in another cave. I can't remember how I got in this cave. Oh, it appears I've made a friend. Hello, friend. Don't worry about me. I'm just going around placing all of these little light blocks in places and trying to get rid of the water. You just carry on doing, being an angry Enderman. You're outside of the sphere. I know I am, but I can't find my way back. Oh no, he was there. I found a rascal, but he ran off. Where did he go? Oh, he's over there. I'll find him on the map. Give me that rascal. Hey, stop it. I need the rascal. Down here somewhere. Let's see what they drop. Anyway, I've been going for quite a while now, lighting up not just the watery areas, but a lot of the just sort of big caves I've been coming across as well, just to reduce the sort of mob spawning in the caves and things. Oh, I heard you. I heard him. Where is this rascal? It shows him on the minimap, like here. Now he's behind me. Where are you going? Is he down here? No rascal in here. Oh, zombies. Have a light. I found him. He's here. Did I get anything? No, it just vanished. Great. Give me your stuff. Oh, man. Ah, no. No. Ooh, water. Found some. Good morning. Well, I think I have good news, he said. There were glow squid down there a minute ago, and there aren't any others on the mini-map. Although that rascal is still over there. And that means if there aren't any others on the mini-map, they should be spawning. But they don't appear to be doing now. Was I too close? I was too close. Ah, my AFK platform is slightly too close to the glow squid. But as you can see, they're spawning. They're getting pushed. Kinda. Sort of. It's not working at all, is it? Well, let's move the AFK platform up a few blocks. There we go. And now we'll go and collect all that junk I just dropped. See what we've already got? 76 already and a bunch of XP, so that's not bad. Now I'm just going to hop up here and just keep my eye on it. So I'm going to stand here, just like this, and then I'm going to free cam my way down. So hopefully we can see things happening. But we can't. Am I still too close? There's definitely none others in the area loaded. So yeah, maybe I'm still too close. Yep, I'm still too close. Okay, we're going up a fair bit. This should be a much better AFK spot. So let's get ourselves back up here. Try that again. The slider has stopped sliding. And there's things going on here. Right. It feels like I've got some adjustments to make. I need to make this non-spawnable because I keep seeing creepers down here. And I need to figure out why that stopped going round. There we go, it's going again. Excellent. And that means I should probably have some access to get over here a little bit easier than I have been doing, so that if it happens again, it's going to be nice and easy to come and fix. One last amendment that I want to make is to fix this little issue here. At the moment, if we just get some dead squid ink coming over, it just bounces between these two conveyors and it doesn't end up in this chute. And if I take that chute away and put it a level up where they will get collected, the sword will eventually just beat that chute to death and that chute will disappear. So the way we can solve this little problem is to take that chute away before it's broken. We'll just drop these conveyors back a couple of blocks. Belts. Yeah, belts. Yeah, that's what I said. And we'll literally just add a couple more in underneath. The problem then is, are the glow squid going to be in range of the sword? I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's get some more belts in with a bit of chain drive behind them just to get those powered. Just like that. Pop our chute back on there. And hopefully that'll work. And now eventually back at my AFK spot. I am not seeing any glow squid, which is slightly concerning. Am I now too far? Oh no, there's some. We are getting some. They're getting whapped. They're moved over there, but are they dying? Yes, that one died. Excellent. And that one, yeah, it seemed to die. This is probably not the best position to watch this in. So let's just free cam down there and see what happens. These two need to swim down and go under the water, which they don't appear to be doing, possibly because there's a layer of glass above their heads. But there we go, a whole bunch more spawned in. Here we go, we get one here. That's going to go down there, and yes, it will get hit by the sword, and the items are going into the system. But the majority of the glow squid are not swimming down like they did in my test world, which is a little bit concerning. And that might be because this layer of glass here is one block too low, meaning they're a little bit stuck inside it. So I guess we need to sort that out. Ah, it also could have been that we were slightly too far away for them to actually have their AI working. That could have been the problem. So if I'm here, they'll swim around and then they'll fall down. But if I'm slightly higher up, they seem to just stop. So yeah, look, if I go slightly closer, they start swimming. So I guess it's just my AFK spot again. Now I'm down here, I can see them all swimming about. They're going to end up going down and getting chopped. I suppose I could have another pusher in the water level pushing them across. That would help. We just need to get this back into the little cart assembler over there. Come on. But building this is going to be tricky because it's right where our glass is going to be. So actually it would make more sense to allow this to come back a block further and then just do a little bit of demolition here. Let's put that there instead. Get rid of this wall, just like that. Get this pushed back into the cart assembler eventually. Now we can get rid of those two bits on there. We'll bring this up here. Wow, jeez, I didn't mean to do that. Bring this along here like this. Get it all glued together. Let's turn that back into a contraption. Get rid of that. Give it a bit of a shove, and then I'm going to have to be very quick. Yeah, that should help a little bit more. That should help a lot more. It's sort of just pushing them backward. That's not what I had in mind, game. They are dying, though, for some reason. And now they're out. So a little while later, I've made some changes to the system. Nothing major, but enough to hopefully fix the problems. The first one was to replace the glass that was at the bottom of this with tinted glass, which I haven't actually finished doing, so let's just get the rest of that in there now. And the reason for that was just because I didn't really see the point in having a glass layer and then just two air layers and then just the tinted glass layer. It didn't make any sense. What we do need to do now, though, is make sure that there's absolutely no light getting around these conveyors here, allowing them into the system. We also need to take the concrete out of here because it can't go through. And the other thing that I've done is to make the contraption slightly different. Because the squids were able to stop the minecart by getting in the way, the minecart now comes outside of the area, and therefore the squids can't get to it to stop it. That's the plan, at least, anyway. I can't see why that wouldn't work. I've also replaced this concrete and that concrete with the tinted glass as well, just so we can see what's going on here when I'm down at this point. So now I just need to get back to my little AFK spot and actually see if this is going to work now. And yes, we still need to move the AFK spot slightly so that the squid can have some AI while I'm up here. But look at all those that spawned. That's a lot of them. They're still bouncing backwards and forwards on the arm. I don't know if having that top layer for that arm was a good idea, but let's just go a little bit closer so that they can start actually swimming and figure out exactly where my AFK spot actually needs to be. They spawned while I'm here. Here we go. It's gone down. It's on the conveyor. It's getting minced. It got minced. And looking on the mini-map, there are no other glow squid in the area loaded around us, so perhaps this is the level that I need to be AFKing at. Not up there. And perhaps it would make more sense to actually build this into the wall on the other side so that it's not just floating in the middle of the room. So with this fancy new little AFK spot just here and a nice view of what's going on down there, I think it's time to do a little bit of AFK and see how we get on. But before we do that, I want to empty out the system and see exactly what we've got. We're at 283, so let's empty that out. Let's empty that out and do a little test. And doing this little test, I've just figured out what the problem is. We don't want a gap in our little mechanism there because that's allowing the glow squids to get stuck on the middle of it. And all I'm going to do in terms of adjustments is to just add a middle row of these in as well. Sort the glue out so it covers the whole thing. Now we can empty out the system once more, hop back up to the AFK spot and actually do a test. Well, it's been 15 minutes, so let's go and see what we got in that time, and I think it's going to be pretty good. We got 481 Glow Ink Sacs, which, after doing a little bit of maths, is the equivalent of 1,924 per hour or 30 stacks per hour, which isn't bad. However, while I was watching that, I realised we can probably do this in a much more efficient way that will solve a lot of problems and save us having this stupid thing going backwards and forwards, which means there's only one place I can go. That's right, back to my void world, because I have a plan, which means I need to turn both of these systems off and come up with something entirely new. Well, slightly new. It's going to be very similar to this one, but not too similar. As you can see from this, we have no fence gates at all, just a whole bunch of tinted glass, a little bit of water, and a whole bunch of conveyors, all pushing forward and then across with our little deployer with the sword in the middle. And if we raise ourselves up so we can see this in action, you can see the glow squid just going straight down there and ending up being killed. They occasionally will try and swim away from it. They will try and swim across the current, but there is much more likelihood of them actually making it down onto the conveyors rather than just waiting for them to fall through the fence gates or hoping my little sweeper deals with them. And that's working very nicely. So all I've got to do is get this into my survival world, which could be a very tricky thing to do if it wasn't for the create mod, because of course we can just make a schematic of the whole thing. And that means back here, hardly any of this needs to exist anymore. So I've got a little bit of demolition to do, and then we can start getting that new one in. Wasn't expecting to do this at this point in the video. The old stuff is gone, the cannon is ready. It has everything it needs, so let's hit that play button and get this new farm put in place. And here we go. Hopefully it's going to start with the bottom. It is, as it usually does. Because really what we don't want is all of those conveyor belts ended up being waterlogged. But that could happen with the fact that we've still got water in this, although I'm kind of hoping it will replace it. But then I've just realised that, oh no, stop. I didn't put you on replace solid with empty. With any. That's what we want. Carry on. That was a close one. There we go. The conveyors should be going in now. Kinda. This is the weirdest cannoning thing I've ever seen happening before in my life, but it is doing something. I'm not 100% sure what it's doing, but it is definitely doing something. Oh, and here it goes again. There's all of the conveyors. Lovely, and now it's... yeah, there we go. Done. So I've just got to wire it all up. Nice. And the main mechanism is now in this corner. We just need to get a little bit of power onto there and then we're good. A little bit more chain drive there. Some shaft across here. Not there. A little bit of smashy. A little bit of repairy. A vertical gearbox. Some more shaft. A little bit more smashy. Another vertical gearbox there. A little bit more shaft. Some tidying up of all these messes that we made before. And now all I need is a controller and my box is back. And we are now plugged back in. Everything is powered, or at least it should be. I've got a little bit of wall fixing to do down at the bottom there. But I'm hoping everything will be nice and dark in that water. And I just need to give the sword back to the deployer. That's going to be slightly tricky. Haven't really thought this through, have I? And the easiest way to do that will actually be to smash a little bit of this here. Give you that sword there, put that back in there, and then we'll just do a little bit of wall fixing. Just like that. Now, there might be a little bit of light coming through the back of this deployer here. So we need to keep our eye on that. And I suppose the easiest way to find that out would be to free cam into the water. And of course, turn our brightness right down. So there is a tiny weeny amount of light coming through the deployer, which isn't ideal. That will affect our spawning rate. So, guess the only way we can get rid of that is to just block all of that up as well. Oh no, there's still light here somehow. Is that coming from below? And there we go. I've managed to do it by literally covering up absolutely every single component through here with blocks. So that should mean everything's nice and dark in there. And that means it's time for another rate test. Well, there we go. The second 15-minute rate test is over. But what will the results show? And there we go. We managed to get 850 this time instead of 481, which means we went up from having 30 stacks per hour to having 53 stacks per hour on average, which is almost double how much we had before. That's an incredible difference, which means that this farm is ridiculous, and I'm going to have all of the glow squid I could ever possibly need and more very, very soon.